Dr. Sheep here. Welcome back to TGIF Talks, episode, I don't even know. Give me one moment while everything loads. Episode 118. I'm your host, Dr. Sheep, with my co-host, Anonymous Phil. Hello?
Mm-hmm.
Join my co-host, Anonymous Phil.
Mm-hmm. That's your name, Phil.
You little schmuck. Now I gotta edit. Joined by our used to be co-host, now guest star, Kyle.
Yep, that's me.
2 weeks in a row, we have a guest host. Maybe next week we try and get Will. That's like
Look at you.
What?
Huh?
That's like trying to shoot the moon, though. So, anyways, let's roll the intro. Anyways, these podcasts are broken down into no parts, so we just talk. So, Kyle, long time no see. How are you?
I've been all right.
What have you been up to since the last time we spoke on the podcast, which I think was sometime around the last trip we took?
Well, yeah. So I won't be graduating this year. So I'll do one more semester. So that's 4.5 years of college or university.
So I've heard.
And hmm and I talked to my advisor. They keep on, I think, like every year I get a brand new advisor, which is, I don't know how I feel about that. But this advisor I have currently, we met up and she goes, "So I see you've been taking some of these classes." I'm like, "Yeah. You realize you don't have to take those, right?" And I'm like, "What do you mean?" She goes, "Well, you took that were covering ACEs freshman year of college. And you took them again last year when you were a junior." So my advisor that I had before my brand new advisor had me take duplicate classes. The big one was I took astronomy when that science credit was already covered by when I was taking biology my freshman year.
Solid. But hey, you know what? We got
Yeah.
a good time.
But the astronomy class was so beneficial.
Yeah, honestly, the astronomy class, I did sleep a lot in that class. I took a lot of power naps in that class, but I didn't need the credits. I didn't need the extra science credits because I already took science my first year of college.
See, that sucks because
So, yeah, it
you're
does.
because you're minor, right? Typically, most minors, unless you had mine, count for free electives, and so you take them. You take the minor, and they just count as free electives. There's nothing really too important there. Well, you were taking all these classes and probably filled up your free electives, but you still have
Yeah.
this minor that you still need to finish. Now you have to take these classes that literally only count for the minor, nothing else.
So yeah, I'll also get into that. I have a bunch of English classes I still need to take for my English minor.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm done with the English minor after this year. I don't know.
Well,
I'm taking
hopefully.
like 3 English classes. I can't wait for that.
Oh my
But
god.
and like it's not that bad. Except this one professor, I haven't had his class yet, but we'll see how that goes. Because I looked at his like rate my professor thing, and he sounds very egotistical
Oh,
and a narcissist.
fantastic.
He sounds like a narcissist,
That's every
which
professor,
is,
though.
but that's weird coming from a sir from
No.
that field. But
Oh, maybe in
also,
that field.
it kind of makes sense. It makes sense because this guy he wrote novels, like 2, 3 published works that won awards.
What kind of awards? Because apparently, as I've learned, any novelist can basically like post their book in a certain spot in Amazon and become a bestseller like that, and then they can just make an award. Oh, Pulitzer Prize. Oh, well, don't mind my comment then. Don't mind what I was saying. Ignore what I said. But these are bestseller awards for Amazon. He's just a normal author. Hello? Did he die? I think he died.
Maybe.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now you're back.
Okay.
What kind of awards?
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Solid. Because yeah, I've learned this wasn't even I don't know why this isn't even like in relation to what I've been working on. I just straight up have just learned it from just Safety Third Podcast. I think mentioned it at one point because I think they had somebody they talked to who wrote a book, and then yep. Yes, he had written a book. No, he wasn't a novelist. One of their guest hosts, he was a book marketer before he did YouTube, and he told them how people get. Everybody says it seems like everybody has New York Times bestsellers, and he's like, no, most of the time it's Amazon bestsellers, and they just make the seal look like a New York Times bestseller seal. And he says an Amazon Prime seller is super easy to get. You basically have to just, because there's like 100 different categories in Amazon for where a book can fall. And as long as your book is a #1 seller in that spot for, I want to say it wasn't an hour. I think it was like a day, like a week or something. It was a stupidly short amount of time. Like it was not long at all. As long as it's Hello?
So I found the awards.
So, but yeah, go ahead.
Continue on. Oh, okay. So he was on a bunch of short list stuff and a couple finalists, but the ones that he did win was the NACP Awards for Debut Book, the inaugural Oppenheimer Awards, FT/Oppenheimer. With that one. LA Times cited first fiction, International Literature winner. Okay. He is from Nigeria, so he won like some maybe like international. That's my interpretation of that. That's all. But he was a finalist in a couple other.
Most
things.
Nigerians actually speak French or English because there are like a stupid amount of languages within Nigeria themselves, so they all just learn English or French. At least the ones that go to school, anyways.
The name of that last award is a French word.
Yeah, because I had a professor who was from Nigeria. Really cool dude. Mm-hmm. The perfect professor for the class I was in.
Wait, was it for a business class or?
But yeah.
English. Business?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I didn't take any English classes.
Oh, look at you.
I took them in high school. So I had...
Yeah, so... Yeah, we'll see how this goes. Yeah, I took like a fiction writing class. That was pretty fun. My final portfolio was write a 20-page story.
Double space? Size 12?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's about...
well,
6,000 words? 7,000? 6,000? 7,000 words?
Kind of.
Depends how much dialogue you do.
At least 10 pages had to be part of one story. The rest of the 10 pages could be whatever you wanted to, but 10 had to be for one story. But I ended up writing 20 pages for one story. And then, what else?
What a schmuck.
Oh, yeah. I had all semester to write that. I started like 5 days before it was due and did decided on the fourth day that I didn't like where my story was going, so I trashed the whole thing and wrote a brand new story.
Oh, I mean, so that leads into what I've been working on. So, see, there's a reason why I knew how many words that was. That's because I started my own novel.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on my 19th page, and I'm at 13,000 words, size 11, not double spaced. So that's why I knew how many words you had to have for 20 pages. Double spaced size 12, mine's size 11.
Yeah.
So that's why I knew that.
May add another page. I don't know, 1 point over 20 pages may give you another page. I don't know.
Oh yeah, so the 1 point isn't the end of the world. Isn't gonna make or break it for. Besides the point. The point is, no, I've started writing a novel. Fun fact, and that professor, you have to write a 10-page story, but then the last 10 pages, I don't care. I.e., he's gonna read the first 10 and then not read the rest. But still wants 20 pages for whatever reason.
He wants 20 pages, but 10 of which should be part of one story because this professor worked in with publishing, and when you publish a work, they only read 10 pages to see if it's worthy of publication or not.
Oh, maybe I should have made my first 10 pages much better. Well.
Yeah. You need to make your first 10 pages the absolute best.
Well, that's
you have to make it engaging enough to where they want to know more.
Well,
basically, if they read the first 10 pages, is your book something that they feel interested in enough to keep reading? Do you have a good cliffhanger where they have to know what happens? Or can they guess what happens? I don't really care.
I don't know, my book was kind of like a thriller, so...
But if you can guess what's going to happen at the end, you need to change it up.
Oh, well, mine's in a unique position in the first 10 pages. But that's what the editorial process is for, The editor, whenever that happens, is going to be like, yeah, we need to change these first 10 pages, or we need to change the beginning of this book, or whatever. And then, you do the editing.
We need to change the whole damn book. Your book needs a complete overhaul.
And that's it happens. It happens. You just got to redo it. But back to what you were. But back to your time crunch and how you wrote 20 pages in 10 days, 7,000 words. It's actually
4 days actually. 20 pages, 4 days.
4 days to write 7,000 words is actually pretty reasonable. So I'm writing.
It was not fun.
Well, no. I'm not saying it wasn't fun.
I just had to average 5 pages a day.
Yeah, which isn't actually that. I mean, I didn't find.
It's not that bad, honestly.
No,
I don't know. I had to write. Well, maybe this is because it was Spanish.
It's also
I've had to write papers in Spanish. I remember one of the shortest time crunch I had. Well, it was my Spanish final. I had 12 hours to write 1,000 words in Spanish.
Bruh. Oh, in Spanish. Yeah, that would be a pain.
In Spanish. It was kind of rough.
Yeah, I could imagine.
I got it done. But it was rough.
In Spanish, that'd be a pain. In English, you should have that done in 2 hours.
Because he opened up the final at in the morning at 7 a.m. I think, if I'm remembering this right, and it closed at midnight.
So
maybe it was I wrote it in 12 hours. I don't remember.
So for my book, I've challenged myself to write 500 words a day, which is really easy to do. So right now I'm at 13,000, so I'm 1,000 words ahead. That's just because I'm going to be busy the next 2 days. I have to edit this Thursday, and I'm coaching tomorrow. So it's I won't have time to write probably today and tomorrow. So I had to get ahead. So I wrote 1,500 words today, and I got super distracted. But like I've written 500 words, and when it's a story, right? When you're writing 500 words of a story, is really easy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I can do that in a half hour, and that's
yeah,
I'm a notoriously slow writer. So somebody who's actually fast can actually type fast. They could zip right through that, and so like getting 7,000 words in 4 days is an accomplishment of itself. But it isn't out of the question. I don't remember. I wrote when I started the book. I wrote. God, how far did I write that first day? I wonder if I can.
It's on Google Docs.
Yeah, can I look to see?
You can. If you click on, the spot how it says last change was saved 2 seconds ago or whatever, click on that and it'll show you revision history.
All right. Here we go. So, the first day. Well, how does it?
It should break it down by time. You may have multiple timestamps within a day, but it should break it down by day, or at least a day and a time. Do you see that?
Yeah. So in the first. So when I stopped working on it at 3:30 a.m. on January 3rd, I had already written 6 pages. And I started
that was day 1.
And I had that was 3:30 when I stopped, and I had started about 10:30.
So 10 in the morning till 3:30 till 3 a.m. the next day.
No, 10
in the morning.
p.m. 10:30 p.m. to 8:30.
Oh, I'm sorry, p.m.
Yeah, to 3:30 a.m.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
So like 5 hours or whatever?
Yeah, 5 hours, and I wrote 7 pages. I don't know how many words it is. It won't tell me. Anyways, I'd have to scroll it. And so that's, of which I've pretty much rewritten most of that anyways at this point. Or parts of it. So, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, that was 5 hours. So you just gotta do, in 10 hours, you could do it. It'd take you 10 hours. But when you have other projects to do, I could imagine.
Well, I remember in English,
actually,
I took an English class my sophomore year, and I was not the most, what do you say? My time management skills in that class were to be underworked. They were in the process of being improved. Nonetheless, I would wake up around 7 a.m. I had to turn this. So the class was at 9:30. It had to be turned in by the start of class. But of course, there's drive time and all that. So right. I always turned it in, by like 7 or 8. But I'd wake up at 6 a.m. And in 1 hour, it varied from like a page or two, because how the class was structured is that she said the course curriculum, she has to assign 25 pages worth of work.
Right.
And so the students have to complete 25 pages worth of work. Okay. And so it was, but honestly, when you think about it, it's not really that bad how she laid it out, because she could have either, given us, one big 25-page final, 2 big 12-page papers to do, during because this is over the course of the semester.
Right.
A semester is 15 weeks. You have to write 25 pages over 15 weeks.
That's a
so
one-page paper per week.
Is she broke it up into like 15 assignments that were like 1 to 2 pages.
Yeah. Which isn't terrible.
And so every week at the start of class on, I don't remember if it was a Friday or Monday or whatever, but the start of class, or maybe this is Tuesday, Thursday class. Anyways, doesn't matter. At the start of class, we'd have to turn in our 1 to 2 pages, and I'd always write those 1 to 2 pages the morning of.
Ah.
At least towards the end. There were a couple times I wrote it throughout the week, just because I knew it was going to take some time to kind of gather all my ideas. But I knew the assignment ahead of time, so sometimes I was just like, "Oh, this will take me no time at all to write." And so literally, I'd open it up and just start typing away, and next thing you know, it's like, "Oh, I'm done." And it's like it's only been like a half hour or whatever.
Right.
And so I really liked how she did it. And the other thing was there was no set curriculum on what she had to teach.
No.
So what she did is she arranged it so that way at the end of each thing, we left like what she called like an author's note. We talked about what we wanted the meaning behind this short page to be, or whatever, how it addressed the prompt or whatever, and then we told her to grade us on what we would like her to give help on, because obviously, there's a million different things she could go through and mark off with the red pen, but it'd be most helpful if she gave us the critiques we wanted to use. So rather than, spending like an hour giving you the most, trying to pick out every little thing, she would want to spend like, say, 20 minutes just focusing on the things that you wanted to improve in your writing. And so for me, it was all about trying to make the way in which I wrote sound more professional. Because when I read what I wrote, it sounded like something a high schooler could have completed. So like I was a sophomore at UNL, a sophomore in college. It didn't seem like I was, like my writing level was comparable to what I would have expected. Like when you read a book, it sounds formal and professional. Even if it's fiction.
Depends on the book.
It's when you read a fiction book, if it's was written by a kid, or if it was written by a good author.
Right.
And so I'd ask her to grade my paper in that way. What are the things that you would recommend me changing in order to make it reach that next level?
Okay.
And the other thing, I felt like there was one other thing. I had a bad habit of using also or the word so.
Oh yeah, I got a bad habit of using. I
got in the habit of having like the same 5 words to start every sentence I wrote.
I have that habit too, but that's from high school.
I had the same. I have like a list of like 5 words. That's it, and that's how I start every single sentence. Then, so, also, just simple transition words like that. Therefore, that's it, and that's how I started every single sentence. And so, she had me brainstorm some other words, and forcibly think about each next sentence, So basically write your paper and then go back and highlight. She had me highlight with a pen every time I used the word so, and then with a different color every time that we used the word also. And she said eliminate that down to like using that word once every 5 sentences or something, just to cut back. And so over the course of those next 5 sentences, pick a different word that you have not already used.
Right.
And that was her technique, which helped a lot.
So what happened in high school was when we started writing, I remember she was like, and Kyle, I don't know if you can vouch for this, But our teacher, she was like, "All right, so right now you all write your sentences the same way. You all start them with a noun. Every single sentence starts with a noun. I don't want them starting with a noun anymore. I want them starting with something other than a noun." So like, however, therefore, and she's like, every two you can have two sentences that start with a noun, and then the next one you start with something else. It's like great.
Yeah.
And honestly, it just kind of happens naturally now. You know, it's just like always starting every single word with a pronoun. You know, it's just he did this. He was talking about that. Oh, you know. Literally, I was about to say, this happened. I literally was about to just skip over doing the noun again, because I just doing that twice in a row, doing it 3 times in a row, it's just like, oh. But, and see, that's where the having a vocabulary comes in, because then you can figure out how to start every sentence a little differently. And something I've noticed when I'm writing this book is I try not start. So some places just text wall where it's just paragraphs. There's no dialogue. You're getting through exposition, or you're telling the story. You're not really telling it through dialogue in this part. You're describing things, and I try to not start the paragraphs with the main character's name, because then I'd have like 3 paragraphs in a row, 4 or 5 paragraphs in a row where it's just his name. It's like no, I can't do this. I gotta start with something else. So.
Oh, and the other thing that she did, it wasn't always the same type of work. Like, it wasn't always just fiction. So, I remember we had like 2 poetry. We had like a haiku or something.
That's how does that add up to how does that work into the page?
It was like a paragraph on a page, and that counted. I honestly don't know if I even met the 25-page quota, but I think she took it more as like 25 assignments essentially. I don't know.
I was gonna say, because a haiku is 575.
Yeah. And so, or maybe we did this on the scratch piece of paper. I don't remember. Maybe that's the one that didn't count. Anyways, then we had to write a poem. And then we had a few. We had to write like a biography about someone. We had to interview someone, and then write a paper about them.
Ah,
that was kind of fun. I interviewed my I don't know what his position is, but he's like in charge of like the physics department.
Oh,
I don't know if he's like the head. But he was one of the people that I talked to before I considered switching to the physics department. And
I always hate about.
What were some of the papers?
I always hated those assignments. It's like, go interview somebody and then write about that. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I hated that. It's the worst. So, but before we move on to the next subject, Kyle, what did you write 20 pages about? So you said it was a thriller.
Yeah. It's kind of like a creepypasta, but basically, what happened? I'm trying to like summarize it, but basically, it takes place in this small town, and every year, somebody goes into the woods, and they never return. And eventually the town gets superstitious of this, and they start having like mandatory lockdowns during this time period. And this time period will only happen on the first full moon of autumn. So so on that night, somebody will go missing. The next night, it's technically the second full moon of autumn. So when the moon is at its fullest, that one night. And the main story is with these 2 guys who decide to go into the woods, break curfew, and go into the woods during this night, and they find out the truth of what happens during this night.
And do they survive or do they die? I mean, I don't know if any of us are like ever going to get to
I'm gonna
read it.
spoil the end.
I mean, are you gonna read it?
Are you?
I mean,
I mean, you'd have to send it for us to read it. So
yeah,
I don't mind the ending being spoiled. That's the kind of person I am. I don't. But your brother there, I don't know.
yeah. I'll just keep it a secret. But they do find out the truth, and you get graphic of gore.
I remember. No, but writing.
I actually want to edit that part of the story too with this because I'm taking part 2 of the fiction writing class. It's like intermediate fiction writing. So I want to go and I don't know because I'm really confused with this dude's syllabus because he's like, we're gonna be doing fiction writing, but then he's like, you can't write your own stories.
What?
Or, are you
Huh?
wait, my audio cutting out?
No, I'm
You said
just,
you can't write your own story?
Yeah, so it's super weird.
So, like, is he wanting you to do, like, an interpretation? So, like, take New Hope,
So, okay.
but write a story?
Yeah, so here, listen to this. We will hope to use work on the reading list as stepping points for creating our own stories, whether in response to various prompts or as original stories to be discussed in workshops.
So
and
it
then-
sounds like you might get to use them. It depends on the
Yeah,
assignment.
and then he goes on to say, original stories are open. You could write about anything. I try not to constrain you with page limits so you could write freely as you want, but for sake of formality, a story should not be less than 5 pages, more than 20. But he's kind of constricting. He's like, I encourage you to write your own stories, but also I don't want you to write a whole entire story. But then what's the point of creating an original story if you don't give us the
What do you mean?
freedom to dedicate our whole entire semester to writing one story?
Oh,
So I think that's how my interpretation is. He wants like original short stories and not like a full-on semester dedicated to creating a story.
okay.
So I don't understand this guy.
You get to write a lot of
I
stories
really
then.
don't.
You get to write a lot of short stories then. That's a way
guess,
that's a nice way to just talk, because short stories, when you read a novel, novels are filled with description and dialogue.
Well,
Sure,
this
it's-
20-page story is like it will be more of a novella story type deal where it could be
Gonna write a love story?
if someone were to read it. Novellas aren't love stories. It's
Oh,
just
I
a
thought
short
they-
story.
Oh.
Novellas don't have to be love stories.
Oh, I guess I'm thinking of telenovelas.
Yeah, so
That's
Those
a
are
TV
always
show.
love stories.
But that's TV.
True.
novella as like because you have a novel.
Mm-hmm.
A novella is a shorter version of a novel.
But longer than a short story?
I think so. I'm gonna look it up. Define novella. A short novel or a long short story. So longer than a short story, but shorter than a novel.
Short stories are interesting because they...
Oh, here we go. Short story over 1,000 words, usually less than 10,000. A novelette, 7,500 to 19,000.
How
Novella is 10.
I type in define novella into Google and everything is in Spanish.
Because you have Spanish
got it.
dictionary
Are
on.
you translating or are you getting an English result?
I'm getting full on English. How are you spelling novella? Are you using 2 L's or using 1 L?
1 L? Is
Yeah,
it
it's 2 L's. It's 2 L's, Phil.
I didn't
It's 2
know.
L's.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to cut that out.
It didn't even want to take one L. It's just like 2 L's, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to cut that out.
Yeah.
I will
used,
cut everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, cut everything.
What do you think I have
This
to do
whole thing-
Thursday?
This whole
Yeah.
thing is a scrap.
Yeah.
No.
So a novella is usually
1,000
from
words.
10,000 to 40,000, sometimes 20,000, 49,999. But a book / novel is about 50,000
Or more.
It's a
or
long,
more.
short story.
Yeah. So a novella, it goes short story, novelette, novella,
Novelette.
novel.
That's like a
Novelette.
children. That's like a children's book.
Novelette. I don't think I've heard that.
Novelette.
Huh.
I think people use novella and novelette interchangeably.
You know, I wonder if most children's novels are novellas technically.
I think technically they would be considered novella.
Because you ever
But
look at
when
them,
you're
that's really big
Does
text.
Magic Treehouse count as a novel?
I don't know.
Consider
It
them
depends how
novellas.
long each book is. I mean, the whole thing could count as a novel.
I need an example of a work that I might be familiar with that counts as a novella.
Of course, I really hate this book. I really do, but the book is considered a novella. It's called A Court of Frost and Starlight. Hate the book. Never, don't recommend it at all. I spit on that book.
Trying to think.
It's a really bad book.
I'm trying to think of books I read in high school
So
for stuff, but I can't. Or
Cat
like
in the Hat.
elementary school, but I can't remember any.
Green Eggs and Ham.
That is not even. I don't know if that's even short.
That is a
poem.
novella.
That's a poem. It's not even 1,000 words. I bet.
That is a novella poem.
Novella. It's not even. It has to be 1,000 words, and I bet word count of Green Eggs and Ham.
hey, Phil,
Well, you got to count all the publishers at the beginning of the book and the copyright date.
50 words. Green Eggs and Ham is 50 words.
Is that close?
No, it's not even a. I think a limerick is longer than 50
I think
words.
I am.
I think
Would you eat them over here?
what's the word? Shakespeare's
okay, here.
14th sonnet is longer.
Oh, there we go. The Iliad is a perfect example of a novella.
Really?
Here, I got better.
I don't know.
Here.
I was making a joke because it's like a long book.
These ones are popular forms of literature that are considered novellas. Animal Farm.
Animal Farm.
Let's see, A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens.
Really?
Heart of Darkness. Of Mice and Men.
Oh,
Of
yeah,
Mice and
duh,
Men.
of course, of Mice and Men. That's of course a novella. That's a
You would
really
probably.
short.
I would
story.
consider the yellow wallpaper
Haven't read
would
it.
be
Oh,
considered a
Charlie and the
novella.
Chocolate Factory.
I've seen the movie. Ah,
But-
interesting thing. So back to the Iliad here. It's 52,000 words, so it barely qualifies as a novel. It's a novelette. Could technically almost be a novelette.
Wait,
instead
what's the
of a novel.
definition of a novel?
50,000 words or more?
Is anything over 50,000.
Well, I typed it into Google. It says it's over 700 pages.
Right.
Yeah, but you have
Have you
to
ever
count for
read the?
words.
Have you ever actually looked at the Iliad the way it's written in a book?
No.
It's not written.
I've seen people read it, but I've never opened the book myself.
It's not written like you would see like a traditional book. So a traditional book is text all the way across. The Iliad is lines. And so you have a line of like 5 words, 10 words,
Oh.
3 words, whatever. And it's that. And so you rack up pages really fast, but it's only 52,000 words.
But I. So
Harry Potter. There we go.
Because it's an epic. It's a poem.
Harry Potter.
That's a novella?
A game of novel.
That's a novel. I was going to say.
Probably.
I
Oh.
thought about
Harry Potter's
okay, so-
a novella.
Do book series count as independent novels, or is that something different?
I don't know.
I
And
yeah, I
would you
think each book could be considered a novel, right?
consider book series Thrones each book a part of his A Song of Ice and Fire series? Would that each book be considered a novel? Because I'm looking at examples of novels, and you have Wuthering Heights, Moby Dick, The Great Gatsby, Frankenstein,
Oh.
Crime and Punishment, Jane Eyre.
A Thousand Leagues Under the Sea.
Wuthering Heights. Oh. Pain.
So yeah, I guess maybe a book series.
That's not a
I
series.
mean, those are. I mean, anything over 50,000 words. I mean, if you want to cram a book series and say it's a novel, I guess you can do that.
Yeah.
But
Wait, but are you counting all the books collectively to equal 50,000 words? Or are you saying one book individually has to be 50,000 words?
I think it's any type of long literary work. I don't think it
yeah,
is constrained.
that's a good point, because when you think about it this way, so when we say novel, we're constraining it to a book, or we say novelette or novella. We're straining it to this idea of word count
okay,
in
so
books. But
you would consider it a novel series.
oh, okay. But in reality, what you really need to think of as the story.
Yeah, because
What's the beginning? What's the middle? What's the end?
Because you would for like
But the thing is, some series could be, one book. Like the first book is all you need. And then, people really enjoyed it, so they decided to make a sequel to the book.
mhm.
Well, then, that's up to the writer then. And up to the people who read that book series to decide that then.
Yeah.
Because,
you could
fun fact, I was reading about Harry Potter because, as I'm writing my book, I wanted to mention Harry Potter at one point. And Harry Potter, she had us all written in her mind, or like even before, I guess somehow written some point back in the 80s.
yeah.
Like the whole thing. She had the last chapter of Deathly Hollow.
Follows.
Deathly Hollows.
Deathly Hollow.
Written
Deathly
back in the
Hallows.
80s.
Yeah.
Which is the epilogue for the whole thing.
George R. R. Martin, the writer of Game of Thrones, he did the same thing, where the book was practically already written, and he is going off of it. So yeah, but Harry Potter. If you just Google it, just says a series of 7 fantasy novels.
Yeah. Sorcerer's Stone is 76,944 words.
Mhm.
So, it's the shortest of them all because each one gets progressively longer.
Yeah.
Which is why the last one had to be split into 2 movies. Plus, that was the thing to do back then when they made that movie.
Oh, yeah. Everyone loves to see 2 movies.
That's how you make more money. If you separate
Absolutely.
the final book.
Honestly,
into
I
two
think they
parts.
could have combined Infinity War and Endgame into one movie.
4-hour-long movie. They
Could have made it a 3-hour. They could have made it a 2.5 hour long movie
No.
between both. They
No.
decided to drag it on and explain a whole
Did you
bunch
guys
of
ever
other stuff.
watch Black Panther 2?
I have not. I'm waiting for it to come out in Vudu, and then I'll just buy it and watch it.
Okay. I think it comes out on Disney Plus in
Well, maybe
7 days.
maybe we need to have a watch party then.
Maybe.
You come
But
over
you
here.
you don't think they could condense Endgame and Infinity War down to one movie?
No,
2.5 hours?
because definitely not Infinity War. Infinity War, in the 2.5 hours that it is or whatever, it's great. It's one of my favorite movies. And
I think the only thing I would like to see from Infinity War was maybe like minutes or maybe less. I don't know how you would run it down.
Because here's the deal, right? Let's be honest.
So see like maybe 10 minutes of screen time or I don't know how much
Well,
of
you're cutting out.
Thanos
I'm hearing.
invading. You hear me now?
Yes.
I'd like to see Thanos invading Xandar and taking the Power Stone
Oh.
because one that would show his military might because he at that point he never had an Infinity Store. All he had was his army. It isn't until you
Yeah, that
see
probably
him
should have just been a
taking
part
over
of.
Thor's ship that you get the Space Stone, and he already has the Power Stone at that point.
You know, if they wanted to do that, that honestly could just be its own movie. You just make like a war movie.
Mm-hmm. But
Actually, that'd be cool.
I want to see like a rated R movie of Star Wars of
Darth
Darth
Vader.
Vader.
That's what everybody wants. They're never gonna do it.
Or
That's what
Darth
Rondo wants
Maul.
too.
A Darth Plagueis one would be really interesting to see. If I would have a Darth Maul movie, I would like to see it for the events of the prequels.
Oh my god, the Darth Plagueis movie would be so many memes. It would just be memes. Oh.
It would be, but it would be
It get memes
so
hard. So
hard. Seriously, it could be a really good movie.
No, but I think if you want just as a fun project, doesn't really have any outside implications to the rest of Marvel, which is why they would never do it, because it wouldn't fit. Is to do an actual war movie. Everybody's gonna die, unfortunately, but a war movie of Thanos going and conquering Xandar. So so you cover the heroes, the losers, the victors. There wouldn't be any heroes. It would just be death.
The death of Xandar.
It would just be.
It'd be interesting.
You probably how it end up. You have this guy starts, living his life on Xandar. He's got a wife, kids, and then the invasion starts. He gets separated from them. Finds out they died. So like he gets all.
A Gamora movie would be interesting.
Yeah. So then he goes on this rampage. Get his way up. He works his way. He's in the Capitol room where the Power Stone is, right? And Thanos is there. He's about to collect it, and it's just this guy standing in the way. And, he's going to go fight him, and Thanos is just going to murk him. Mm-hmm. That's the issue. So you can have this great story about this guy trying to find his wife and kids. Eventually, he's like, they die. So he's like, okay, I got to do, I'm going to give my life to Xandar. And then he just gets murked. And that's why the movie wouldn't go well. It'd be great until that very end. And he just dies. And you're like, well, that sucks.
I mean, Rogue One, fantastic movie. And then you see the final battle, the final scene with Darth Vader.
Oh.
Peak. That was peak of the movie. Because that was so cool. And that's also a very popular meme, the Darth Vader hallway.
Yes. Everything is a meme. But anyways, oh god, we're at 46 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go into the next part.
Traveling.
Yes.
So, so our next trip, we kind of need to make a decision. So, have we kind of decided on when we're going out in March?
You said the 18th.
Yes, but we haven't had your brother. We haven't had all of us in the same place.
Yeah.
And also, we haven't discussed when we're leaving. Are we leaving
we talked about this.
Friday. Yes, we did. Us two. Not the third one down here.
So my spring break is from March 12th, which is the Sunday, to March 19th, which is also a Sunday.
Right. So
you wanted to leave the 17th at the earliest?
Friday night. We leave Friday night, and we come back the Sunday, the last day, 19th.
We'll come back the 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're going to Kearney, and you found a place. Yeah. Well, this is if we can find a place to stay.
So let's back up a bit. What is this trip? Stargazing?
Cranes.
This isn't the Cranes.
No, this is the Cranes.
What? Hello?
Cranes? That's in Kearney?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was out Like out west.
No.
No.
Huh.
It's along the
okay.
Platte. I mean, realistically, you don't have to go all the way out west to see them. So, but apparently, and which is why we
There's
need
a
to,
big gathering in migration in Kearney.
right,
So we're going to Kearney to see the cranes.
right, but also apparently, which is why we need to get this decision made like very soon, is because apparently the hotels fill up.
Yes, they do. I hear that. Phil and our hairdresser, talks about that. They fill up real fast, and you have to wake up pretty early too.
So we need. So Phil says he's gonna this weekend, since
Okay.
I won't be able to call him until noon, Saturday.
Yeah, last time you called me, and then next thing you know, I was going bowling. I had no time to make a phone call.
That's yeah.
Okay.
So his plan is Saturday morning to find places, and then call hotels.
Gotcha.
So that's
Okay,
the plan.
so that's the March 17th through 19th trip, Kearney to see the cranes.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
you said
then-
there was more?
Are we wanting to do a Mullen trip in May?
A Mullen trip?
You're a little
If
loud.
we do,
That's just on your end. You can quiet me.
I am done with school May 19th,
And I'm looking right now as to when the new moon is.
which
Why May?
kind
Oh,
of
why is there an ad? Go. Why? What in God's name?
stinks because I just got back to university from my winter break.
Yeah.
So we had an extra week of winter break, which means we start a week later for summer.
I was gonna say the 19th is late.
It is
So
really late.
so
Usually,
No, that's about normal.
no, it's not,
No, it's
because
not.
usually
Yeah, it's always
May.
the second week.
No,
this
Phil,
is the
Phil,
third
listen.
week, Phil.
Yeah, Phil. Usually, my last week of classes is May 13th. Usually, May 7th through May 13th is finals week.
No, it's in
And-
the week before though.
No,
I remember taking finals on May 1st.
yeah. Well, so
Okay, just reinforces what Kyle's saying, that this is much later
Yeah.
than normal.
No,
Yeah.
but spring break was always around that second, third week of March.
but listen, usually because last
Spring break was never in February.
no, Phil. Listen, spring break is March 17th through 19th, which is usually normal.
March 12th
Usually, I
through the
think it's usually
19th.
usually. Now listen.
Yeah, that's normal.
Okay, listen. Last spring semester, my last day of finals was May 13th.
That's
This year,
That doesn't
it's
sound
May
right.
19th. Yeah, it
Because
does.
I could have swore we had graduation like the 7th.
Yeah,
Yeah, ours
you
was
guys.
jank. Remember, we didn't have a spring break.
we don't have a spring break.
We didn't have a spring break? I thought
No,
we
2
had
years-
a spring break.
we
years
started
ago,
a week late, and they cut spring break, and so we just went through the entire semester. So that's why they gave us an extra. That's why we started a week later, because they wanted to give us an extra long winter
Right.
break, and
That was
because of
in
COVID, they
2021.
just bulldozed through it.
And then in 2022, my finals week was May 7th through the May 13th. But in 2023, May 13th is the last day of classes, and May 19th is the last day of finals.
That's yeah.
But considering I'm taking 4 classes this year and 3 of which are English, I'll probably be done and three of them are English.
Oh, I'm
One is
sorry. Not
sociology.
last year, 2021.
That's what I just said. 2021. It was a lot earlier for us.
Yeah, no, that's what the problem is.
Yes.
We've been out of school for a whole year, and
Mhm.
so May 7th, that was a Friday. That was our last day of finals.
Yep. Because we didn't have the spring break. But in 2022, that spring semester,
Yeah, well, I don't
May
know that
13th was the
semester.
last day of finals. That was I remember that semester because I remember that was the week of my 21st birthday.
Right. So, to this year.
So this year, May 19th is last day of finals, but considering I'm taking 3 English classes and 1 sociology class, I think I might be done that Tuesday or that Wednesday of that week.
Well, that maybe means if the weekend's going to be cloudy, maybe we go in the middle of the week.
Yeah, so we'll see what it looks
Yes,
like.
Actually, I couldn't. That's
So-
the finals week. So.
All right. So, spring of 2018. This is the year I was thinking about. Final exam started April 30th, and then went all the way to May 4th, which is Friday. But my last exam was at Tuesday, which is the 1st of May.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
that
was.
was
You were the
2017.
only person in college here, so this.
Yeah,
But that was a
kept on
glorious year.
yeah,
Wait,
but
wait, when did you join?
2019, genius.
yeah.
2019 was my first spring semester. I didn't join until fall
no,
2018.
you joined fall 2018. Yeah.
See, the reason why winter break is so long is because UNL is doing the pre-session, the winter pre-session, and they
Yeah.
wanted it to be like 5 weeks this year.
Well, anyways, that is the
which
weekend of the new moon.
stinks. The new moon is the 20th.
It's somewhere around there. So
Okay.
I didn't really look too closely at it, but anyways, yeah, that's the
Honestly,
weekend of the
I
moon.
think I might be done around.
Why not July? Because July is when it's going to be at its highest point, its peak.
Right.
No.
I'm just asking whether we wanted to make. I thought we liked going to Mullen,
Mullen
right?
trip.
I thought maybe we'd go Mullen more than once per year, but okay.
Well, I figure, yeah, but I figure this is something that, we wait until the 2 weeks before when we know the forecast. It's kind of hard to plan a Mullen trip if the forecast is going to be cloudy. So I just figured, Mullen is something you can easily do over the weekend. Like, hey, are you free this week? Are you free next weekend? Yeah, let's go. The weather's going to be clear.
Okay.
I think
I
okay,
didn't
this is the
figure
place to
Mullen
do
was
it.
something you had
Doc
to
is trying to
plan,
say, it's something
months
to
in
keep-
advance.
I think what Doc is trying to say, it's something to keep on the back burner. Should we keep this in mind? This is the week of the new moon.
No, as always, but there's no reason to plan for it 5 months in advance if it's depending on the weather. It's something that you think about 2 weeks before when the weather is posted.
Okay. All right. Moving on.
Anyway,
All right. We all know
Anyways.
about the big trip. We'll talk about that more later on. The big trip. And then there's July. So whatever. Nothing in August. I guess nothing for August for you. September is my trip to North Dakota once again. I will be doing that over Labor Day. So no Mullen trips over Labor Day this year. Not that it would matter because I don't think the new moon go the frick away ads. I don't think the new moon falls there anyways. It would not. No, it's a full moon. Anyways, so this year would be perfect to see the northern lights if there are any right at the equinox. Interesting. Anyways, wait. Yes, fall starts. Yeah, interesting. Anyways, what was I saying? Right. So,
trip in June.
well, yeah. I was gonna skip past June because we'll come back to that because that's kind of a big deal. So,
Wait, why
I'm
are you
gonna
talking
be
about the
gone.
equinox? Why are you talking about the equinox?
Auroras.
Oh,
Anyways,
but I thought you were going around Labor Day.
right. I said I could go around the equinox and hope I get to see an aurora. But truth be told, kind of at this point, I'm just gonna have to plan an Alaska trip at some point and just
Well, yeah.
go to Alaska and just do it.
I always thought auroras being visible in America, well, at least the contiguous U.S., was rather difficult.
I mean, when you're up there, apparently it Because I was talking to Rondo, and his girlfriend's name. I was going to bring this up at some point. She didn't like to be referenced as Rondo's girlfriend. I completely understand. I wanted to give her a nickname, but we never discussed it. I asked her, what do you want your nickname to be? She said, Badass Bitch. So here we are. Rondo and Badass Bitch texted
Call her
me.
Bab.
Huh?
You
What?
can call her Babs. Babs from, Babs from Family Guy.
Oh, yeah. I guess we could call her. I guess I could call her Babs. I'll have to ask her. Anyways, Babs or Badass Bitch said they hadn't seen any Auroras since they moved up there.
Since when did you talk to them?
This was probably a month ago when Rondo brought it up.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying.
And they also would mention it to me if they had seen
That's
it.
what I'm saying. It does not seem like a very frequent event to be visible.
But see, when you're up there, there's all kinds of infrastructure built in, suggesting that it is frequent.
Oh, by the way, I want to bring
Wait,
up
what do you mean infrastructure built in?
So, like, in Fargo, of all places, they have, like, stands for, like, high points where you could go and watch the auroras.
They're specifically for the Aurora?
Yes. It literally says on the side of the building, Boy Scouts Aurora spotting location. It's like right on the side of the interstate. And I'm like, oh, that was interesting.
I want to bring up something interesting. So, one of my coworkers, the place I work at, we were on the topic of seeing every state in the U.S. and how to identify whether or not visiting a state counts or not. And we both came to the conclusion that if you drive through the state, you don't stop and get out, it doesn't count. If you're in an airport of a state, that doesn't count.
Oh, hold on.
So
if you drive through, it doesn't count?
I'm sorry. Have you driven through Iowa for 6 hours?
Because not even Iowa. It could almost be done for Nebraska. If I had slightly better gas mileage, I could, in theory, start at the Missouri, drive all the way through Nebraska, get to Wyoming at the border, and fill up. And I drove through the entire state, and you say I didn't visit them? Visit it?
You could also do Colorado instead.
Colorado. Yeah, driving through Colorado is more of a scenic route.
Well, no, driving to Colorado.
Sure.
I mean, from Iowa to.
Let me explain the points. If you drive through a state and you never get out of the car and touch the ground, you never visit the state. If you do step out of the car and let's say you get gas and you continue driving, that doesn't count as visiting the state. We identify as visiting a state is doing something significant in that state. So let's say I've been to Kansas. I went to get my dog Apollo, and we got him at the farm, whatever, where he was in Kansas. So I visited Kansas to pick up my puppy for my dog.
I visited Iowa on my trip to Illinois.
That doesn't count. We identify as visiting a state as doing something significant in said state. So for her,
I think driving is pretty significant.
No, but listen.
Gonna lie.
So she was saying we were on the interstate in Pennsylvania, got stuck on the turnpike. They were in a school bus, and they ended up having to stay on the bus until they can get dug out, and then they spent the night in a school gym and they made the news.
Okay, well here, let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that. What if they got stuck, were stuck for over an hour, got the bus working, and continued driving and still made the news?
Wouldn't count.
They never got out of the bus. The bus was just stuck there,
but
waiting for someone to get help before they could go. They still made the news, but they never got out of the bus.
Part of the significance would be maybe visiting a certain place.
They pulled over on the side of the road.
Then it probably wouldn't count. And they probably wouldn't count it either.
What?
So
therefore, none of us have been to Utah.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we got out to see Salt Lake City.
Yes, but but if we try to combine the two standards,
Salt
like the
Lake.
hour-long thing, no, we did not. If something
How long-
significant
wait,
has to be
I
an
do have
hour long,
pictures.
we did not.
Oh, but here
Yeah,
is
I don't
one
think it
thing.
was an hour.
No.
I think this
Even
was
like all of
another.
our stops in Utah don't add up to an hour.
So here was another discretion that we put in.
Yeah, because we didn't even have lunch in Utah.
So listen, also said like you spend over 24 hours in one state, it would count.
Still didn't do that for Utah.
Yeah.
That would be like a universal automatically counting.
No. So let me ask you: do you, based off that criteria, do you think it's fair to say that you have not been to Utah?
Because I did something significant. I got to see Great Salt Lake. I got to watch you take your finger put into Salt Lake and then lick it. That was kind of funny.
That is true. I forgot about the
Got
licking
Taco
of the...
Bell. Got Taco Bell in Utah.
We didn't get Taco Bell in Utah.
That was
Snow in Utah.
Colorado.
Wyoming. Colorado, but wasn't it also
No,
Wyoming?
but we woke up to frost on the windshield.
That was Wyoming.
That was Wyoming.
Oh, okay. But I would consider those as states we've been to. But here was the big one. This all leads up to this big old question that I asked her. If you went to Four Corners and put your foot in every single spot, then left, not doing anything else, would that count visiting Arizona, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico?
By
I
our
said
standards, no.
No.
She said no.
Not even by our
Because-
standards.
Yeah. Which, while you put your foot in every single state, you didn't visit the state. It was basically it's a cop out. You're cheating to visit to get more states.
That's why Oklahoma doesn't count.
No, okay.
When you-
yeah, I'm willing to say Oklahoma does not count. But
Was
Utah
Oklahoma the one where
does
you guys-
count.
Utah does count. But your Oklahoma trip, was that the one when you guys got out of the car, raced to the border, and then got out, and then went back
No,
in the car?
that
and
was to
continued driving?
Kansas.
That
Oklahoma, we raced to Kansas. Oklahoma, we just drove there, drove a mile past the sign for Oklahoma. Actually, there wasn't even really a big sign, and then we turned around at the next
Yeah.
house.
That wouldn't count.
Yeah, and no, we don't count that. It's just a funny meme at this point.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna go to Oklahoma though. Don't worry, that's the plan for this year, and that was our next trip.
I would honestly like to revisit Iowa.
That's not our
South
next.
Dakota, and
That's in
North Dakota.
October.
Well, yeah, that's this year. That's what I
Yeah.
meant. Like we were talking about trips and lists, and then we got fixated on I don't know where we are at this point. But the next trip that I was gonna take would be Albuquerque.
Which is New Mexico.
I would like to revisit Iowa, South Dakota, and North Dakota.
You were just in Iowa.
Hmm?
You were just in Iowa.
For
For a
what?
wedding.
But-
A wedding.
Oh, I guess that's kind of significant. Okay, but I would like
You
to
were there for an
revisit
hour.
South
That's significant by our standards.
Yeah,
Over an hour.
I would like to I would also like to revisit South Dakota and North Dakota. Those are two states I would honestly like to redo.
Well, see, we
You didn't even
actually
do North Dakota. I thought you said you were asleep.
No, when I
Hello?
went to on my Minnesota trip.
Yeah, but you said you slept.
No, we had lunch in those two states, lunch and dinner in those two states. But I don't really remember what else we did in those states, so I would honestly like to redo them. I barely count those ones because there was one we had this lunch at this really scenic spot, but I don't remember what state that was.
Yeah.
Nah,
Scenic
see-
spot in South Dakota and North Dakota when going up to
No.
Minnesota. That's non-existent. I've driven
you
that.
Can, you can have. You can have.
Non-existent.
You can have that definition, but that definition, it doesn't do it for me. The whole idea of driving through and not being able to count. I'll read you our definition that we came up with again. It was
I mean,
okay,
if you drive through, you never put your foot on the.
yeah, but you spent all day driving through the state. You drove through all the big cities. You saw everything there is to see.
Yeah,
You
especially
saw
with
all the
Iowa.
farmland. What?
This is especially important for Iowa.
Yeah, you drove through all the major cities of Iowa. You drove through all the farmland. You've seen everything there is to see in that state.
It's the same thing for when you took your. I guess this is kind of this is a big stretch, but when you went to Spain and you had that layover in Germany, you flew over other countries, but you never visited those countries because you never set foot on those
But
countries.
no, but I was so high up I couldn't see anything.
Yeah, flying doesn't count.
Flying doesn't
Yeah.
count.
By that
But you never. put your
Also,
foot on
airports
the-
don't count.
been to
Yeah, we already
Wisconsin.
established airports don't
All
count.
right, so it's 1 full hour during the day outside. You need to be outside part of the time, and
Mhm.
I wrote the
Walk on your
word
feet.
beyond state border. It's kind of arbitrary. Beyond
Yeah.
state border. It's a way to say that walking 2 inches past 4 corners does not count.
Yeah, there are.
You need to be beyond the state border.
How would you even?
Which is why we had our next criteria. You need to drive an hour into the state, or spend an hour outside during the day in a major city of at least 5,000 people. Which is a way that Four
And then
Corners can't count because I don't think it's a city at all.
No, there's nothing there.
It's at least 5,000 people need to be in the city if you're not counting driving as part.
Okay,
It's driving or spend 5,000 people city.
Also a little arbitrary, but I think if you spend anything more than 24 hours in that state without leaving the state, that's an automatic count.
How are you gonna spend 24 hours and never get out of the car?
But I think eventually you would have to get out of the car.
Right, and you're gonna spend like if you're
I don't
spending
know how
24
you
hours,
could
like
spend
spending the night.
24 hours and not get out. Like, not even to use the bathroom.
Trip to Pennsylvania,
What?
stuck in the turnpike, but then they were in the part of it. Then they were in the school gym.
No, but if you're
They
stuck,
got-
I
and then
would
they got
count
breakfast.
that, though. If you're stuck in like that's like a tunnel, right?
They got breakfast in the city, and then they left.
No, but the turnpike, that's like a tunnel, right?
No, it's just a piece of road.
What?
Be a piece
Is
of
it a
road.
piece of road?
It's just a piece of road. It's
They got-
Okay.
They got stuck on the interstate. They had to get a ride into town or into the city, and they spent the night in the school gymnasium. Then they went out, got breakfast, and then they left. That would be counting seeing Pennsylvania.
Well, yeah, that fits my definition as well.
Yeah, and that's what happened.
how did we count? So, how did we? I guess we spent. I guess we drove an hour into Nevada because I was like trying to figure out how we count Nevada because
We also
Eli's-
spent the night in Nevada.
huh?
We also spent the night in Nevada.
Well, yeah, but like Eli's only 4,000 people.
But we also had to drive over an hour to our spot.
True.
Yeah,
We
I
also
think-
then spent. I spent an hour outside the car doing things. You guys were asleep.
I spent an hour taking a nap.
that I don't know, but I mean, yeah. Utah,
Okay,
but like by Kyle's standards, weird. But
or at least
See, you couldn't
seeing-
count Utah.
seeing the sunset and seeing the sunrise.
Okay, no. Here's the
One
deal.
trip.
Tell your friend the conditions of Utah, and ask him if it's fair to say that you have not been to Utah.
So we drove, and how long were we in the car until we got to Salt Lake City?
For several hours.
no. He's talking about how long were we in the car in until we got to Salt Lake. Like driving from.
I don't know, from the border to Salt Lake. I don't know. I don't know how long it was.
It's like 2 hours, if that.
Say 2 hours. We spent outside at the lake for like 15 minutes.
And then we came back, drove all the way across the damn state. That was like 5 hours.
We drove, because we drove back. We drove on the highway by the arches. We didn't see the arches.
Yeah, but also we got to see a bunch of scenery.
Yeah, but we never got out of the car.
I can't remember
that was in Colorado.
Those were in Colorado? That's what I was trying to figure out. If those were in Colorado.
Yeah, when we saw that scenery, I'm pretty sure that was in Colorado.
All those canyons that we saw? Those are all in Colorado?
Oh, well, here, my phone keeps a geo pointer.
Here's mine. I'm going to look at my pictures also, because I'm pretty sure they weren't.
I thought that was Colorado.
I'm going to look at YouTube. Excuse me. No, I don't have that. How do I not have that recorded? Okay, I didn't record those times we were in those canyons. Those were in Utah.
Some of them were in Utah. Some of them were in Utah.
I was gonna say, because like,
but we didn't get outside for an hour. All right. Let's say hypothetically we did not get out of the car for over an hour.
We didn't.
What?
I don't think we did.
We didn't.
We got close.
We didn't.
But we didn't.
All right. Yeah, so tell your friend we stopped at all those pit stops along the way, but we were not out of the car for over an hour. We saw all that scenery. It was less than an hour. Ask them if they still count it.
I just looked it up. The place that we were at the most was called the San Rafael Swell, and that was in Utah.
Yeah. I said some of the places were in Utah, but let's say hypothetically, because it probably wasn't. It was not. It was less than an hour.
Actually, no, they were all in Utah.
Yeah, no, but ask that friend of yours if they would still count you as visiting Utah, because I would, but their definition it would not count.
I think she would count it, because she would say that was pretty significant.
But it was less than an hour. You said it had to be an hour.
No, I think it has to be. I don't know if it has to be an hour on foot. I think she was like an hour in the state, but you had to spend a significant amount of time outside the car and on your feet doing something.
Well, 15 minutes compared to 5 hours of driving is not a very significant portion.
I don't know. I will have to ask, but I would honestly count it.
See, I've been
in Utah.
See, we're gonna talk about this. I've been to South Dakota before I ever even drove across it.
As have I.
For days.
I went there in high school.
I went there when I was like 3. So, know.
But do you recall anything though? Does that really count?
Unfortunately,
Doc,
not anymore.
you still need to send me those photos.
I did.
More.
All photos have been distributed. I'm pretty sure.
No, there's a lot more. The ones that we were in when we were at San Rafael Swell.
I sent those.
Oh yeah, I need to get the photos again, because I put them on that flash drive that is now lost to time.
Just send all of them to me.
I did.
When?
Not you, him. I sent you these. I've literally sent all the photos. They've all been sent. I don't know. You lost them then.
You sent barely any.
They've all been sent. I know for a fact. I remember going through and sending them. You lost them. I can send them again, but that's a pain in the ass.
Well, no, I just want the entire folder copied on another flash drive. But hopefully,
I understand. You data.
I lost them all. I don't even know how. It pisses me off.
Kyle has literally just misplaced them in his folders or never transferred them out of his email.
No, I'm trying to get into it.
I think I told you what I thought happened. Did I tell you what I thought happened?
You lost it at work, I thought.
No, I never took it to work. No, because I checked at work and I didn't find it. I thought that was a possibility. No, what I think happened the most probable way that unless it's somewhere where I have yet to even think of looking, it fell off my desk into the trash can. Because I thought about this. Remember the time how I put the popcorn bowl in their trash can? I was like, bro, if I didn't tell you, you probably would have threw that away. That's what I bet happened. I bet I knocked it off my desk. It fell into the trash can. I didn't even notice it fell in the trash can. Took out my trash and threw it away.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking happened. Unless somehow it fell between the cracks of something that I don't know where.
Let me know when you confirmed it.
That was one item you've asked for.
I have to ask for all of them? What the hell? Why didn't you just make a folder?
I don't know. I don't know. Again, it's a pain in the ass sending them. Anyways. What is junk? Oh. Anyways. So, what was I? What are we at? Hour 20. So, anyways. Last thing, okay? October. Now, I know Phil has said this already. Kyle, we want to let you know now.
I'll say it again.
Shut up. Kyle, we want to let you know now because it's coming up. You got like a month and a half. Technically, maybe 2 months at the most. When you're planning next semester, make sure either don't have a Friday class or if you have to have a Friday class, make sure it gets over super early in the morning.
Are you talking about fall semester?
Yes.
Yeah. When you make your fall semester schedule, tell me.
Okay.
Because the way this Albuquerque trip is going to work is the Friday of fall break. Let me pull up a August calendar. Not August, October. What am I doing here? Doc, why are you opening 80 freaking things?
Let's open 80 freaking things.
You say September?
October.
Okay, October.
It's the Friday before your fall break.
Friday the 13th.
Through what day?
Friday the 13th.
That's when it starts. You get Monday, Tuesday off. It doesn't matter.
Okay, Albuquerque, New Mexico?
Yes. Which is why I said we're going to hit Oklahoma, New Mexico, and Texas on this trip. I am determined. I don't know what we're going to do in Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, and for some reason, he doesn't think... Wait, let me ask your opinion. He said we can. There's no way. He doesn't think we can hit all 50 by the end of the decade.
Literally, the only ones that are going to be a challenge are going to be Hawaii and Alaska.
But I think it's possible. It's definitely doable.
Oh, it's absolutely doable. Do you realize how easy it is to rack up states on the East Coast?
Well, yeah, because the thing about the East Coast is you have to make long trips. And the states get smaller the further east you go. Well, to a point. And it becomes easy to just, let's get another one.
Why are we going to Albuquerque?
Solar eclipse.
The eclipse.
Oh, that's right.
And this is a literally once in a lifetime solar eclipse.
Yeah, next. So there's going to be because there's like 10 more within the decade, but this is the only one within the U.S. What?
So in 2017, 40, 50 years until that same path happens again?
Well, similar.
Well, no, it's like 2045. No, but that's not the point. No, the point is that you'll never have another annular eclipse within a short time period because there's going to be like 10 more within the decade, but they're not going to be within the U.S. The next one that hits the U.S. is like 2049.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what states are we going to?
You're going to be like 48 years old.
Texas, Oklahoma.
That's it.
Oh, just those three?
Yeah, because
that's new, yeah. And then we come back up through Kansas.
Or we could take Colorado, but I want to go Kansas. So, despite the fact it's going to kill me, but we're going to go through Kansas. Anyways, so the reason why we're going to do this is because, so basically so the reason why Friday the 13th is you need to have an early class because, I mean, we're going to go, but if you end up having a late class, it means Phil or I have to drive all night.
The eclipse is at 10 o'clock it's 10 o'clock Saturday morning.
Yeah, so which means we have to drive all night long. So
because we have to be there by morning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's either A, we leave, mid-afternoon, drive all afternoon and into the early morning hours, or we just leave at like 11 o'clock because it's like a 12-hour drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We leave at 11 and we get there at 11 that night.
So then the next day, after we watch the eclipse, we're leaving at like 11:30. It's written right here. So right now, tentative leave schedule is 11 a.m. For ALQ.
Yeah, I think we allowed a half hour for the eclipse or whatever.
No, sorry. I'm reading the schedule to from home to ALQ. We're leaving at 11 a.m. That's about the earliest I think we can leave because Phil has a final.
That's the latest.
Yeah. The 14th, after watching the eclipse, we leave at 11. We go to Darhart, Texas. We spend an hour there. So we get Texas, and it's 5,000 people. So, we'll get Texas.
Spend an hour.
And then we drive to Guymon, and that's going to be in Oklahoma. That's another hour. And then we drive to Dodge City to sleep. And then Sunday we leave at 9 a.m. and go home. We'll be home by 3.
Yeah, cause I think the plan was to be home by Monday.
Oh, we'll be home by Sunday with this plan.
Oh yeah, Sunday. Because you get Monday, Tuesday off, but this is a way to where I wouldn't need to take days off if I can't. Because the plan right now is to already, well, I think, and for you as well. Because
I have shit tons
because we're taking like a week off for the big trip, and so it's like I'm not sure how many extra days I'll be able to take off.
I was talking with my boss, and so back to my September trip, I actually I'm taking another 2 days compared to what I took last year, and I'm going to use that extra day to go to visit Outback in Minnesota, because it's a 7-hour drive from Grand Forks to where he lives, because he basically lives almost in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So my plan is drive there, and then the next day, or maybe that night or whatever, I don't know, something. I'll go to Wisconsin, spend an hour there, find something to do in Wisconsin. One of my coworkers like bring back some cheese, so I'll be on the hunt for cheese. Also, I'll be on the hunt for a map, which I'll also, because it's also my new thing, is collecting maps, road maps from every state. I've only got North Dakota, South Dakota, and Nebraska so far.
Wait, put it in the frame. Oh, okay.
Collecting road maps.
I should do the same thing.
Yeah, I thought about it on my way back home, and I was like, yeah. And so I was trying to get one for Iowa and Kansas, but it's been proving to be more difficult than I would have anticipated.
I told you, just go to AAA.
But that's not the same. Iowa, though, we can always make a trip to. Also, we still, Kyle, you still need to go with us to Omaha, so we can make an Iowa trip while we're there.
Oh yeah, we're gonna make an Omaha trip, like just drive through Dodge.
Oh well, no, I was saying I was saying to go to the zoo again.
Oh yeah.
Because of my pass.
We do need to go again.
We also need to go to the children's zoo.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not this weekend. I don't have time. Anyways, maybe next weekend. If it's nice. I think it's gonna be cold though. Anyways,
yeah, it was kind of cold last time.
it's gonna be
All the animals See, that's the thing. We got to go in like the spring because all the animals, you're not going to see many
So
animals.
now that we're thinking about this, we can go that new moon. If we don't go to Mullen, we can go to Omaha instead.
That's true. Oh yeah, no, that was the other. That was the other trip. You talked about a possible St. Louis trip
Oh, yeah. I haven't
to knock out the arch.
gotten any times for that.
Phil,
Yeah,
That's just expensive. I don't know.
but I think
Phil,
that might be like a next year thing.
Yeah, that's the limit with that one is just money. Not
Phil,
days
I need
off,
your
is
opinion on
money.
this one.
And then a Chicago trip to go see the Indiana Dunes or whatever.
Yeah, and also I forgot both those trips are dangerous for getting not mugged, but getting getting your car robbed. Because I forgot St. Louis is where our car got broken into. So
You went to St. Louis?
yeah, I told you I've been to St. Louis.
No.
Yeah, I've been to the Arch. That's how I have 3 national parks. I've been to the Arch.
Well, here, we'll
Phil.
just take your truck. It'll be fine.
What?
Yeah.
What? You're gonna pay $80,000 in gas?
Phil,
What?
okay, I need your opinion on this one. How do you feel about redoing an Arizona trip?
What do you mean
'Cause,
redoing?
yes.
We have to go again. I mean,
Yeah,
because we have to knock out the Grand Canyon. We haven't been to the Grand Canyon.
Because I was going to say, because yes, we have been to Arizona, but then again, we were children. I don't know how much you remember from that trip.
Well,
'Cause I
I
barely
was in
remember a
like
lot.
second grade. I remember quite a bit.
I don't remember.
You, I don't know. You were probably
I,
below the level of saving memories.
my consciousness wasn't there yet. All I remember was there was a dog swimming in the lake. That's all I remember. I don't remember really anything else from
The
that
dog
trip.
swimming in a lake.
The wedding venue. There was
Oh,
a body of water right off to the side. I remember there was
Yeah,
a dog
yeah,
in it.
there
I
was.
wanted to pet the dog.
So before we end the podcast, South Dakota's kind of in the same place for me, but South Dakota's in such a weird limbo state for me because,
We can go to Black Hills and Mount Rushmore.
well, yeah. I've been there.
I want to go there again.
As do I. But what I'm trying to say is they're in this limbo state for me because I remember talking about that trip all the time when I was a kid. Like, just constantly bringing it up. Annoyingly bringing it up.
yeah. Remember how when you first started driving, how we talked about going a Badlands trip,
Yeah. Just for starters.
And,
But we're not talking about that.
and it never ever happened.
That's because I got a
think it was-
concussion.
Well, no, it was like over the course of 3 years. 1 year you had a concussion. 1 year I just couldn't go. 1 year I think we just couldn't find a time that worked. And then another year it's just like we just couldn't pick a day or something.
No. So basically what happened the previous times was we just forgot. And then once I got a concussion, we just never did it.
Yeah, because I remember we were
Plus,
planning
you
on
were
doing
just
this whole thing, and then I don't know if it was money one year or something. Because I was like, I kind of want to wait a year or something.
You were working because you had to have your. You were going because you need money, not for the trip,
Yeah, for Spain.
college. It might have
Yeah.
been for Spain, but regardless,
College.
after the concussion, as far as I'm concerned, I just stopped trying to plan the trip. And we're not gonna. We'll just do a national parks trip there. But it's not because it's such a weird spot for me because I remember talking about it, and thus therefore I had memories of it, but those memories are now gone. Which is such a weird thing to know that you had memories, not short-term, long-term memories of something, and those long-term memories are now gone.
Been to Massachusetts.
What?
No, Maryland.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking to myself.
Okay. It's
Trying to-
kind of it's a scary
I'm
thing.
Trying to
I'm
what?
trying to
What?
think.
1% at a time.
Did we Maryland on that Washington D.C. trip?
You cut
We
out.
only-
What?
Did we ever go to Maryland when we went on the Washington D.C. trip? 'Cause
I didn't go
remember
with you. I didn't. I don't know where you went.
I know, but from your experience, because I remember
I
going to
didn't.
Virginia. Because I remember just being in Virginia and in the capital city, and I saw the state of Maryland when we went to Mount Vernon.
No, yeah, I mean, I've seen Maryland too. But none of us have ever actually been to Maryland. We've all been
Yeah,
to
because I don't
Virginia
think I've been.
and D.C., but none of us have actually been
Mount
to Maryland.
Vernon's in Virginia.
It is, but it borders the river that connects to Maryland. And I'm trying to think
well,
if
that
I
doesn't
ever
count. You didn't
actually
even
been.
cross the river.
I know. I'm trying to think if I ever actually been to Maryland, and I don't think I have.
Probably not. I tried to figure it out, and I actually dug through my old Google. Google had tracked my movements through the city when I was there, and no, I hadn't.
Okay.
I didn't get.
Gotcha.
I had no. We never got close.
Look at Idaho.
All I count is Virginia and D.C.
Hello?
What?
He's not talking. Anyways, so now we'll probably have to put St. Louis or Chicago off till next year.
You can't hear me, can you?
We can
What?
now.
No, I hear you now.
Okay. We didn't go through Idaho, do we?
No.
No.
I didn't think so. But that's going to be on the Oregon. The
what? Hello?
The Oregon trip is Idaho.
Oregon trip. Oh, no, we canceled. We scrapped that. I don't know when it's happening.
Okay, yeah, but if we do go to Oregon, it'll be through Idaho, right? Or are we going through the Utah?
Well, I mean, that'd be the preferred method to knock out states.
I mean,
but I don't know when
at
it'll
this
happen.
point, that trip is kind of I don't know. Nobody knows.
It's gone.
Because
I'd
the
like
plan
to go
was.
to.
What?
I'm talking to myself.
The Oregon trip plan originally was to go see this annular eclipse in October, but those highways up through Wyoming, which is what we'd have to take, there's a risk of blizzards that time of year when you get up to those high altitudes. So, which is why we canceled it, because I didn't want to get stuck in a snowstorm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why we're now going to Albuquerque, where there is no snow. There is no mountains either. I mean, there are, but you're not going to drive
there's
through
mountains in New Mexico.
Right, but we're not going to drive
Mexico
through
is
them.
particularly high altitude.
Right. But again, we're not going to drive through them, and it'll be warm. It's Mexico.
Specifically, what part is it? What was the region that I knew?
It's the northwestern section of New Mexico.
Okay, yes.
Literally right around Albuquerque. Like, literally, you could probably see mountains from certain parts of Albuquerque.
Yeah.
If you look at Google. No, sorry, I'm thinking of Santa Fe. Santa Fe's up in the mountains. That's the thing about this trip. We ended up saying we didn't want to go to Santa Fe. But
you did.
No, I wanted to go to Santa Fe.
Yeah, because it's the capital.
You didn't want to go to Santa Fe.
No, I did. It dragged the trip out too long.
Yeah, you didn't want to go. You didn't want to go to Monday because you didn't want to take Monday off. I have Monday off.
I didn't. Well, see, that's the thing. Because I don't know how many days I will be able to take off, because October's a long ways away. Now, if it happens to work out such that, I still have, like 5 days, well, it probably won't be 5 days. Hypothetically, let's say I have 5 days to take off. Mm-hmm. I might consider, taking Monday off as well, and we stretch it out.
Okay, because I took Monday off, so unintentionally. But
as of right now, I haven't planned on taking any days off, but I would consider it when I reevaluate how much time I have after all of our trips are said and done.
Right. Well, anyways, so I should probably just end this podcast. Okay, I'm going to end the podcast, and then I'll mention everything. So, I have no idea how this is going to add together, but I'd like to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. New podcast every Friday, 12 p.m. Central Time, and good night.